Hello and welcome to the DC Stewart Show Podcast. What's going on, peep? It is a Monday morning, January 12th. These days are flying by. You're currently watching the DC Stewart Show Podcast live featuring Isaiah and featuring Najee. And we're doing this thing again on a Monday. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're real talk. Come vibe with us because we're here for you. And we hope you're here for us when it comes to the participation part. So let's get right back into this thing and let's talk about some of the wild card games. We're going to go over all of them. But the main one that stuck out to me the most was the Philadelphia Eagles versus the San Francisco 49ers. Philadelphia has had a seesaw type of year. I mean, they won the Super Bowl a year ago out, and they seemed like they were destined to win another one, I would think. And I would hope both of Najee and Isaiah agree with me on that. But it looked like they ran into some internal issues, and that can sink any team. If that locker room is really not in sync and people are not happy in that locker room, you have to try to figure out what's driving the unhappiness with specific players, or it could be groups of players. It could be anything that's going on with that team. It looks like Nick Sirianni and the star wide receiver A.J. Brown, they got into a little spat on the sideline. It looks like they were in each other's face. And granted that happened, that happens during times of, intense moments in a football game or any sport where the intensity is there. And the coach gets riled up and the player gets riled up, and then you have the same result, And the bottom line is, I want to get your take on this, Isaiah, because I didn't watch that game. I watched several other games. I didn't see that game. So can you break down and unpack the moments that led up to that little disagreement on the sideline? Because when the cameras are watching you, you're talking about millions of people around the world, not just the United States, is watching it. It's catching all of that. It doesn't look good from any perspective. Tell me a little bit about what you think about that.
Well, I think it's immoral for, you can't iron out differences, and then when the emotions set in, you take it over the top. And I think, it's not good for TV. It's not good for young minds and young eyes to see this, because they have a tendency of emulating that type of behavior later on in life. You see it all the time. And this is almost just like when you're raising your own family. You can't have things that shouldn't be heard by little young minds and ears. Their eyes shouldn't hear or see it, because it weighs on them, and it's a negative. And to see this kind of behavior in a prime time game, and you see it more so than anything, even in Little League football, when parents get emotional.
Oh, yeah.
And they lash out at referees and officials who officiate the game, and it spills over to the field where the parents come out. This is during and after games. Oh, it's not a good look, man. It's not at all. So to see that on a professional level, it's even worse, because it's not just a local thing, it's an international thing, because football is being covered almost all around the world now.
Yes, it is being televised all over the world. And let's get a little bit into the history of the Philadelphia Eagles wide receivers over the history of the franchise. They've had some good receivers come through Philadelphia. I remember some Harold Carmichael back in the 80s. Most people don't even know who I'm talking about, but Harold Carmichael was this 6'6", 6'7" receiver, very dominant, and he did a lot of good things for that team. And over time, we're into a different generation of players now. These players, you have to approach them different. You have to coach them different. You have to do a lot of different things to ensure that they're getting what they need technically, and once you give them what they need, the bottom line is they need to take that to the field, and they need to start executing and help win football games. Now, here's the thing with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's a Mississippi graduate. At least he went to the University of Mississippi. He played opposite of DK Metcalf. Those guys are superstars. Both of them were superstars. They show up, they show out, they always on point. However, yesterday, it seems like A.J. Brown had several drops. And here's the thing about drops. You're going to have drop footballs no matter what. You're human, things happen. But when you have the attitude that I've seen A.J. Brown have over the last year or two, where I think he was just going overboard with how he was handling and working with Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen Hurts a laid back guy. He don't say much.
Yeah.
And he's the type of quarterback that I think A.J. Brown took advantage of in a way. And I say take advantage from the perspective that he was always badgering Jalen Hurts about getting him the ball. And you know what? Jalen Hurts was trying his best to get him the ball. Jalen Hurts was trying his best to distribute that ball around to all different types of receivers. Dallas Goedert, who's a tight end, he's a great tight end. You got all kind of, Devontae Smith. He's another superstar wide receiver out of Alabama. But when you ask for that football, when that football come to you, you need to catch it. Don't you agree with that, Najee?
Yep. Yeah, I said the same
I don't want to hear any excuses.
The ball this much, bro.
Exactly.
You're begging for opportunity. You just happen to drop easy passes. Now you making you look like a fool. Now
it does make you look bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And the thing that I have with it is A.J. Brown just didn't stop at field level. He was going in to talk with coaches, and things were getting out in that organization that shouldn't have got out, I think, personally. When you have a football player and he feels like he's being overlooked in certain instances, that's one thing. But, the receiver position is more divish than any other position, I think, even running backs. Because running backs, you got to be a brute and just run with the football, even though some running backs complain. But it seemed like the wide receivers want this special kind of situation where every time they think they run their routes, they're open and they want the football coming their way. So, Isaiah, tell me, why did A.J. Brown get in the face, or should I say, why did Nick Sirianni get in the face of A.J. Brown?
Well, I just think somebody need to check him, man, because he's starting to portray that attitude like Antonio Brown. And he's been disruptive. He's not being a team player. He's being that me type of guy. He need to get checked, man, because you see what happened to Antonio Brown. He just stunk up every place he landed to, man. And ultimately, he stripped like he was at a strip club and ran off the field. And that was the last time he played football. And now he's trying to wiggle his way back in the NFL. And I don't think nobody's going to touch him. And with AJ, he's going to wind up doing the same thing, because once you started portraying the attitude and
it's about me, right? It is about me. I don't give a damn about nobody else. Yeah. It's about me getting my number of footballs during a game, getting my allocation of footballs, whatever that may be. He may be thinking 3 catches today, 4 catches, whatever the case may be. But you have other teammates around you, and you need to kind of let people, distribute that ball around, especially Hurts.
Yeah. Even with that, DC, with that being said, Antonio Brown and him, they are very similar, man. And with him not being checked, he's going to do stuff like that again. And there's a bring of cancer to a team. And it's just not a good look, man, for nobody. You're not going to win. He was covered a lot of times. And then when he was open, they threw the ball in, but this went right through his hand like some slit glue, man. And just to see him miss these catches, man, I mean, hitting them right in the hand, DC. Some of them was like awkward, but from what I could see, a good receiver, when that ball hit both of your hands, you got to catch it, no matter whether it's behind you or not. It could be anywhere, but both of your hands on that ball, man, you got to catch it. And Hurts just did everything he can to get him the ball, and he was running for his dear life. And let me tell you right now, it was a good game otherwise, and they came up short because of these missed passes, man, where they could have advanced to get a first down and they dropped the ball. So I blame it out more on him than anything with them losing because he dropped so many passes that would have given them a first down. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like the 2025 season for A.J. Brown, 78 receptions, 1,003 yards, 7 TDs, 12 yards per catch, or let's just say 13 because it's got it at 12.9. I think that's average at best for receivers' yardage. I'm talking about a superstar receiver because you look at a lot of these receivers, they're clocking in on 1,500 all the way up to almost 2,000 yards per season based on their catches, and they catch and runs because it has a lot to do with what you do with the ball after you catch it and run with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you just catching them and not running with them, that's not going to get you a lot of yards. Now, sometimes A.J. Brown is double covered. He's double covered, and that leaves it open for Devontae Smith. It leaves it open for Dallas Goedert. It leaves it open for several other Philadelphia receivers to be able to make plays because that's what it's all about, is making plays. And everybody should be patient enough, I think. And even if you're not patient enough, you need to try to keep that to the level where when you approach the quarterback, you just tell the quarterback, look, this is the route I ran. Yeah. The DB backed off or he came up or whatever the case may be. But you don't make it seem like you're trying to twist his arm. Like I've seen cases, in the past years where, there was, you could see the friction on TV. I wasn't even at the game, right?
Yeah. So, I think that coaching can nip that in the butt. And even the quarterback, as a quarterback, you got to show leadership too, man. It's only so much of that being quiet stuff that you can put up with. You got to make sure you don't get sacked. You make sure you don't throw an interception trying to fulfill his desires to give him the ball. Because if he forced that ball in there, because I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen some passes where he looked like he was open and that safety drifted over and packed that ball away. So he didn't get a chance to even put his hands on it. So those are the things that the quarterback got to always look, forward to being able to read a defense and read these coverages because he can throw that ball in there and it look like he's open and these guys are pickpocketing him. So he should be mindful of all of that stuff, man, because he think he's open and he's really not. He don't know what the quarterback's seeing from another side of the field because he's downfield. The quarterback is looking downfield where he is, and that safety drip over to help out that cornerback. So he don't see all of that stuff. So, I was pissed with him, man, because let me show you how that works. During the defensive side of the ball, they need to sit their rear ends down and show what's going on, man. I see him more bickering going up and down the sideline.
Exactly.
His ass down and trying to get the plays corrected, man. And that's the thing that
I've witnessed as well. And I think he's just to a point now where he's good as gone. He's out of there because when you have something like that with the coach and the coach is on TV trying to smooth it over, like smoothing over a cake with icing on the top of it, where he's saying, oh, you know what, he's a competitive guy and this and that. Nick Sirianni was trying to fix something that's unfixable. He's going to, he's going to have to go. And I think he understands that. Maybe he wanted to force his way out. I don't know. But
there's no excuse for that, DC. When you got a player that's conducting himself like that on the sideline, you got to check him or either get him out of your organization because he's going to just deteriorate the whole scene, man, because I think that yesterday, even he's trying to push his way out of there or he's just being super selfish, man. So I need these guys to really get down on him, man, because as a player, former player, and to see how I know how it goes when a coach and a quarterback shows leadership. And I didn't see neither one of those, even out of Hurst, man. He need to tell him, man, sit down. I'm going to get you the ball when I can. You want me to throw a pick? He need to start talking to him just like that because he don't see what the quarterback sees. He's and I'm going to tell you, he distributed that ball evenly. Hurst was trying to get everybody involved. And I'm going to tell you right now, even that the tight end bailed him out a couple times.
Goddard. He was one of the most solidest tight ends I've seen play. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, man.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you're playing professional sports, from my perspective, when you're playing professional sports, you still working for a freaking job. You still on a job.
Yeah.
You treat it like it's work. It's business. You know what I mean? You treat it as a business, because I don't know anybody, let's just say, for example, in corporate America, that could run in the office and get up into certain people's face and talk crazy and get away with it, right? I mean, you have to take that same humbleness that you had from high school into college on into the pros, if you make it to the pros, because 9 times out of 10, most players never make it. So when you get to that promised land, which I consider professional sports, and that can go for any sport, it can be basketball, football, hockey, whatever you want to call it a sport, you have to be a team player. You have to be a team player. You can't do what I've seen AJ Brown doing on the sideline, going up, talking crazy to Jalen Hurts about things, instead of saying, like you just explained, that, look, man, this is what I see. Do you see it? And let's try to get on the same page the next play. Correct? Am I right?
Of course you are correct. And see, that's the part that I say there's a cancer in the team. You can't have guys lashing out like that. It's just make a terrible hostile locker room when a guy can come in there and act a fool like that on the sideline and in the locker room. It's leadership when you speak out about not giving it your all. But when you're asking for the ball and you cover, and he don't want to risk throwing an interception, because all of it is a chess match, man. You know that. We talk about this all the time. And for a guy to lash out like that, he need to get checked, man. I mean, really, because I always seen this in the past where a guy like that go on and on and on. They get worse and worse, and ultimately you got to get rid of them anyway. So the moment they start, check them, because you need to check them fast. It's just like when a baby start to walk and he fall down, you hold him up and you give him his little walk, and you show him that this is the way to go. And this is the same way you got to treat a player. If he start doing something wrong, you show him the way to go, and that's how they need to treat him. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And here's another thing that I find alarming about just different players on different teams, because it's not just AJ Brown. You got different players on different teams. One player I think he should teach a course in this is T.O. T.O. was to the point where he was at Philadelphia, and he ended up getting let go out of Philadelphia because him and Andy Reid started butting heads. And once him and Andy Reid butted heads, once you butt head with the head coach, you gone. I don't see him keeping you.
Should be, at least.
Yeah. So what I suspect, and I'm not going to just jump to conclusions here, but I think Sirianni was trying to ask AJ Brown some questions. This is what I'm assuming now, because I don't know what they were talking about. But AJ Brown jumped it and thought that that Sirianni was coming down on him, and that's not the right attitude to have. The right attitude to have for AJ Brown was to step to the wide receivers coach and to Coach Sirianni and say, "Look, this is on me. This is on me. I dropped him, and I'll make it better the next time. Or at least I'll attempt to catch him, because that's what they pay you for. That's what your job is to catch footballs and run with them and score points." So I think that it was the wrong approach, more so from AJ Brown than it was from Nick Sirianni. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a mutual disagreement, man, and I think that it's superseded by the coach, though, when they disagree. And I don't think it's supposed to be shown, the disagreement. And this is the part that I'm saying, is the disagreements between both parties involved. And it shouldn't be shown on TV. It should be a way of them getting along and making sure this thing get fixed before anybody can tell that's, they got some disgruntled person on the team or the coach, because it's not always the player. Sometimes it's the coach doing something dumb, or maybe calling the wrong play, and the receiver think he got the guy beat, and they never give him the ball. But in this case, he was given the ball. He just wasn't catching them. He was dropping balls all over the place. So I just think, man, they need to get together and iron these situations out. And if it's on TV again and they doing this, somebody need to get suspended or get fined or something, man, because it don't ways well to let the general public see you guys at odds like this.
I agree, and unfortunately for this situation, I think it's unfixable. I think Brown is out of there. I really do. And he's still got value. He's still a good receiver. He could still play football because he's a power receiver as far as I see it, from the perspective that he's strong. When he catches the ball, he runs angry, a lot like T.O. and a lot like DK Metcalf. Those guys run angry, and they hard to tackle when they get the ball and they turn up field. If you don't get them on the ground when they turn up field, it's going to be a task, I can say. Even for a linebacker trying to get them on the ground.
That's the part that's sad to me, because it diminishes everything as a person when you got a guy who enormously talented, but they can't get along with anybody. So what good is it? You just wasted talent. You see guys who leave the NFL or any two with a nasty attitude because you just can't get anything going because of your attitude. And I think it's sad where you can't play out your youth because you can't get along with anybody. So that's the part is really hinder people's future, because if you can't get along with your coach and your organization, you might as well find something else to do, because they're not going to put up with it. At least for a while, they're not going to.
Exactly.
It's not going to last that long. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that to see how that plays out, because I'm interested to know how Howie Roseman's going to handle it. I think I understand. Howie Roseman is straight business. He's all about business. He's the one that brought the right kind of players and the right type of players up into that organization to win a Super Bowl. Howie Roseman has been there under Dr. Lurie for a long time at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I was counting on them to win that game too.
I was thinking that they should have won it. I mean, granted that they had the talent and they had enough to win it. It's just that the dots didn't line up for them this time. And sometimes fate doesn't allow the dots to be lined up. And I'm going to keep referring back to fate as long as we're on the show, talking about certain things happen for specific reasons.
Even the Jacksonville game yesterday, they fell short the same way.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to the next topic. And I want to talk a little bit about the Chargers versus the New England Patriots. The Chargers stunk up the place. They stunk it up. And I'm not even a Chargers. I mean, I don't follow the LA Chargers out here. But you know what? Jim Harbaugh looked bad. And here's why. Jim Harbaugh got out coached last night. Justin Herbert, I think he just, at the very tail end of the game, he didn't have no one protecting him. Everywhere he looked, he was getting slammed to the ground, I think. And this is on Jim Harbaugh, because Jim Harbaugh should have had that team prepared to play football in a cold environment, because these warm weather teams, they don't do well in cold environments anyway. I mean, that's been historical. I remember when the Chargers ended up going to Cincinnati back in the 80s. And when they had Dave Fouts and Kellen Winslow and Charlie Joyner and Wes Chandler, they had all of the stars, Chuck Muncie. And they went to that game after they beat the Dolphins in the double overtime.
Oh, that was a hell of a game, man.
That was a hell of a game. And that's going to be a game we'll just have a show specifically on, because that's a game we need to talk about.
Oh, man.
Getting back to warm weather teams, and the Miami Dolphins don't play well in cold weather environments. You have to prepare your team to play in any environment. That can go for any environment, whether it's snow, whether it's raining, any environment, you have to be ready. Now, here's why I say Mike Vrabel should be the coach of the year. This is the justification right here. Mike Vrabel, he designed and comprised a defensive plan to shut down the Chargers throwing the football. So what else do? Do you make the adjustment if you're Harbaugh or you don't? Which he didn't, because they got beat. So Mike Vrabel deserves to be coach of the year. That's on another topic in itself because we've talked about this already. But to have cornerbacks and safeties and have those receivers from the Chargers not being able to catch much of anything, that's coaching to me. Do you think that's coaching, or do you think it's just the players didn't show up?
101, DC. 101. That's coaching 101. Hey, Jim Harbaugh looked like an amateur coach yesterday, man.
He did.
He didn't even look like he had it all together, man. And I just looked at him and just couldn't. He just looked worried, like he had no idea what was going on, man.
Everything was unfolding in front of him, and he couldn't make the adjustments. Now, as far as the Chargers' defense went, I thought the defense held up pretty decent. I thought the Chargers with Jesse Minter, who's the defensive coordinator, he came with Harbaugh from Michigan. I thought the defense was they were holding the game together up until the late third and fourth quarters, and then they fell apart because guess what? When you leave your defense on the field too long, they're gonna get tired. They're gonna get tired. They're gonna get tired. And when they get tired, New England started busting big runs on them. New England started, I mean, you know, you got to give Drake May all the credit in the world. This youngster can play, man.
I told you about Drake. Drake in the Minnesota over there in New England.
This youngster can play. He can play. And what I like about Mike Vrabel is he's taken players with their strongest points and he's actually made them better than their strongest points.
And he's only 23. That boy's serious.
He's a good coach.
That's what good coaches do. They transform a player who's good into a great player, man. They get the best out of them.
Exactly. I was on my treadmill last night in the fourth quarter, and I just kept seeing, man, they beat Justin Herbert up last night. They beat Justin Herbert up last. I bet you he can't even get out of his bed this morning. I bet you he in a cold tub of he having a cold bath this morning because they body slammed him so many times yesterday. The dude looked like that on that last play that I watched before I turned it off because I couldn't take any more of it. But he just looked like he was helpless, man. He couldn't get anything going, and that was due to a lot of it, the play calling and adjusting to New England's defensive schemes. Their looks.
His receivers was dropping passes left and right. You
definitely dropping passes too, so they're not
dropping a lot of them. He's supposed to be
not executing his receivers either. But that was a game that kind of stuck out to me because I was able to watch that game and they got a lot of work to do. I'm not saying Harbaugh can't turn this team around because they have gotten better, you know, since Brandon Staley got fired. They've gotten a little bit better, but if you're getting to the playoffs and you can't win a playoff game, it's just like your season wasn't successful to me. Success drives going through the playoffs and getting to the Super Bowl for every football team. There's 32 football teams in the league. If you fail at one level, whether it's the wild card level, whether it's divisional level, whether it's the conference level, you failed. I mean, you failed if you come up short. I don't care what they say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Chicago Bears game. And man, I'm so impressed with the Bears and what Ben Johnson has done with that team, man. And we always talk about Mike Vrabel being coach of the year, but if I had to flip a coin, if I had a coin, a platinum coin, and I flipped it and it had Ben Johnson's name on one side of it in his face and Vrabel's name on it with his face, I'd just flip it in whichever face it fell on. That would be the coach of the year. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I mentioned so much of the Bears coach because, you know, the Bears was in absolute turmoil for like 10 years.
Yeah.
They wasn't relevant for like 10 years. And then here comes
terrible.
Come in there and turn this thing around, and just to see the pride that they have in the team and the effort that they're putting forth every game, it's something to admire. I love the way they're playing right now, man. I've seen them.
They're hungry. They're playing like a hungry team. They're playing like they're playing like they're a bunch of rookies, but you got veterans mixed in with these rookies, and they hungry, man. They hovering around the ball on defense. Their offenses is making big plays, and a lot of that has to be attributed to Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, see, when you pair a good quarterback with a good quarterback's coach, and he's the head coach, but he specializes in quarterbacks and schemes and stuff to design, because that's why Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes has been so successful. Andy Reid understood what talent that he had in Patrick Mahomes when Patrick Mahomes got drafted out of Texas Tech, and you pair coaches and players together like that, you're gonna put together something that's special. You're gonna put together something that I could see, and I'm not going to predict early on, but I could see Chicago getting to the Super Bowl at some point. I don't know whether you guys agree with that.
Well, they're clicking.
They're in a tough division. They're in the NFC North. But that's a tough division to play in with Detroit and with Green Bay, and But I'm going to just tell you right now, Ben Johnson has got these youngsters and he's got these veterans believing in the Bears can run the table this year, even, I think. Because the Rams better watch out, and the 49ers better watch out. Both of those teams better watch out for the Bears, right?
Yeah, they're clicking at the right time. And this is what happens to teams that go on and win a Super Bowl. They play really well throughout the season, and then at the end of the season, they just all together everything comes together, man. Everything falls.
I feel like they ain't gonna beat the next team. Who they play next? They play the Seahawks next?
I believe they do.
Oh, they're in trouble.
Say that again, Najee.
I think they play the Seahawks.
They play the Seahawks next, right? The Bears
in Seattle.
Yeah, of course, because the Bears just played a freaking wild card, so I expect them to play in Seattle.
So who you got in that game?
Who are you talking about? I got the Seahawks.
Okay.
Well, the Seahawks gonna be hard to beat at home, man.
I'm trying to tell you.
That's going to be a tough act, but if anybody can do it,
and all those mistakes they had the other night, they can't do that against the Seahawks. Yeah,
because the Seahawks is going to capitalize off their mistakes. If they make some mistakes, the Seahawks is going to be all over them about it. But here's the silver nugget on this, or the golden nugget, or whatever you want to call it. The Bears can beat them if the Bears believe. If they can go up there and beat them, I mean, I think the Bears probably would be the best team to match up against the Seahawks more so than the Rams and the 49ers right now. The Rams are playing good football. I still like the Rams' chances. The 49ers are still playing good football. I like the 49ers' chances. But I think the 49ers is getting ready to face off against the Rams, so we'll see which one of them come out the victor in this one, right? Because the 49ers beat Philadelphia yesterday. And the Rams is definitely, they beat Carolina over the weekend. So I believe that looking at the schedule for the playoffs, NFL playoffs going into next week, we'll see how these teams pan out in the divisional rounds. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, the 49ers impressed me though yesterday. I didn't think they was going to win that game, but
they impressed me all season.
That Philadelphia had all that postseason experience last year, and then winning a Super Bowl. Well, 49ers had something for them, man. Yesterday, they were keying on the running backs. They was flooding that backfield. They was doing so much stuff that I didn't think they was capable of doing. So they pulled that game out. So I was kind of impressed with them.
Well, here's what I just found, and I'm going to correct myself since we, made an assertion that the Bears has got to go to Seattle. The San Francisco 49ers got to go to Seattle. And the San Francisco 49ers has not done well historically in Seattle against the Seahawks. Even when beast mode, and you had the Rough Riders on that defense with Richard Sherman and all of them back in the day, the 49ers would go up there and get punked every single time in the Pacific Northwest. They went up there and they got their butts kicked, and they come back home. Now, Seattle, they're going to be hard to beat for the 49ers. If the 49ers get past Seattle, I think they're going to be something to be contending with, because the Rams play the Bears. The Rams got to play the Bears at Chicago, because I think Chicago got a better record. Yeah. So
they
the
play
Rams has got to
Chicago.
go to Chicago, play in that frigid weather.
Oh, it's going to be
The Rams is a warm weather team. I mean, but I think my handsome guy, Sean McVay, going to have them ready. I really do. But both of these teams match up really well, don't you think so?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, offense and defense on both teams match up extremely well.
Yeah.
So you could have a conference championship, or either the Rams can end up with the 49ers, or the Rams can end up, or the Chicago can end up with Seattle. Who knows? I mean, we'll see how this thing pans out, you know.
But let's see if the 49ers even win, because they just lost George Kittle. He tore his Achilles, so that's one of their better weapons. So let's see if they're going to even be able to beat them, because they definitely needed his presence. But the thing is, this team can actually go by that metaphor y'all like to use all the time, which is next man up, because they either lose McCarthy or Kittle every year. But guess what? They still prevail.
Yes.
So let's see. I doubt it, me personally, because to beat them. But hey, we'll see what happens.
I'm going to predict that Seattle going to beat the 49ers. I'm going to go ahead and lay it on the line right now. And I'm a man up if I come up short. I always man up, by the way, because we'll go over some of these comments from our last show that we were talking about. We had a lot of comments on that Harbaugh firing and whether the kick mattered or whether the kick was the problem, whether Harbaugh. And so we'll talk about them at the tail end of the show to see how people think who commented on that. But getting back to the 49ers in Seattle, I got Seattle in that one, and I'm going to just go ahead and say the Rams is going to get by the Bears. Now, if the Bears turn that around.
Well, yeah, I gotta go with the Rams on that one.
Go with the Rams, because the Rams, they're road warriors anyway. They're road warriors. They play well on the road. They play better on the road, I think, than here in SoFi. I call the stadium SoFly because it's a SoFi stadium. So let's go over to the AFC and talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills going to Denver. Now, yesterday, Buffalo proved a lot of people wrong. Josh Allen took it into his own hands, as most leadership quarterbacks do, most, all pro quarterbacks do, MVPs do. He took it into his own hand, and a lot of it was on his legs, to get that win. And when that happened, you look at the Jaguars. They weren't very far off. I mean, it was 27-24, so I thought the Jaguars played fairly well with that. Don't you guys think so?
Yeah, they played great, but they just came short. I watched that game, and it was a smash mouth game, man. It was going back and forth with the lead. And Jacksonville came up short at the end where they threw a pick, but that was a great game.
That was a good game, yeah. I didn't see it. Now, let me get your take, Najee, on this Buffalo-Denver Broncos game. Personally, I think Buffalo going to go to Denver and get it handled. I don't think Denver going to be able to do nothing with Buffalo, because Buffalo's defense has taken a little bit of dive over the years, but Buffalo's defense is still solid enough to hold them to be able to have Buffalo's offense score points and win this football game. What do you think about that?
I agree, because Buffalo, their offense is better, but their defense is their better defense is the pass defense, which is the Broncos' strength when it comes to their offense. So I think that will kind of mesh well with them, because the worst part about the defense of the Bills is that they cannot defend the run when it comes to a decent running back, at least a decent running back. They cannot defend that, but they're like top three. I think they're number one if I'm not mistaken, but they're at least top three on the passing defense, and that's the only thing the Broncos really got, because they run offense is terrible to me. So I think they edge them off in winning against them, because just between those two attributes between the two.
Yeah, so I'm reading here. It says the Broncos' top rusher for the most recent season, 25-26, is J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, ex-Ohio State running back. He played at Baltimore for a while. and he's got 772 yards on the ground, followed by a rookie running back, R.J. Harvey. With 540 yards. So with those two, Harvey is stepping up as a primary back after Dobbins' midseason injury. So I don't know how his injury is fared going into the playoffs. He could be out. Now, Bo Nix, who's the quarterback of the Broncos, has got legs too. He can run. He can run with the football if he needs to. Like I said before, I think Bo Nix is kind of one of them throwback quarterbacks from the early days where he's tough as nails. He can run with the football. He makes good decisions, because he's got Sean Payton there. And here's another quarterback, the head coach relationship, right?
Yeah, but right now Harvey's
with the right quarterback.
But right now Harvey is their main running back because Dobbins got hurt, so he's on IR.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So again, like I said, their strength is not running because they're going to rely on their
right.
Because now they got to rely on a freaking a rookie running back, really. So that's what we're going to do. That's not going to happen.
I know with Buffalo, and Buffalo's got a bunch of veterans on that defense, especially that defensive line and those edge rushers that they got. I mean, I think Buffalo is going to go up there and get it handled. I think Josh Allen in Buffalo feels like this is their last opportunity to get there. I really do believe that. I really think that Buffalo has come up short so many times against the Chiefs, at least twice, where they
was always standing in their way.
The Chiefs was always standing in their way. The Chiefs went to Buffalo and beat them and kept them out of it. And then Buffalo came to the Chiefs, and then you had Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, catch that pass with 13 seconds and take it to the house and just ruin their chance for that second time around. So this is pretty much it, I'm thinking Sean McDermott is telling them that too. The head coach is telling them, look, you guys, this is our opportunity right here. We don't have the Chiefs standing in front of us. We got the Broncos standing in front of us.
Yeah.
And we get them out of the way, things tend to get better, right? I mean, we get the because if you look at the Broncos, who they're playing, and you look at the winner of this Steelers Texans game tonight, and I'm going to have to ask you guys who you're going to pick on this game tonight, because this is a big game for both teams. I think both teams are.
I mean, it's the playoffs. It's going to be a big game.
I got the Steelers, DC Najee. I got the Steelers in this.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers tonight too, because Steelers is playing at home. I think their home crowd is going to help them. I don't think Houston will be able to come up in there and do anything to them. But let's just say either one of these teams win, they still might end up having a face off with New England, or one of the. I mean, New England or I mean, you look at these other teams, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at New England and you look at the Bills.
The way New England is playing, though, New England will beat both of them.
I think they would too.
They'll be pulling for Pittsburgh, but the way the New England Patriots are playing right now, those guys look like when Brady was playing there, man. They look great.
And you think Mike Vrabel for that. You got to thank Mike Vrabel for that, because he is the guy that's leading it all. And he is the one that kind of the architect that put it together when another coach couldn't put it together. He came right in and just instantly made an impact to put things together for that team. And Bob Kraft, you should have seen the smile on his face sitting up in the luxury box yesterday. I mean, he knows he's got his team back. He knows his team is competitive to the point that they can go to Super Bowls again,
Yeah, they're definitely being competitive, DC. I mean, I haven't seen them play such a balanced game since the Brady years, man, because they playing well on offense and defense.
Offense and defense, bro. Yeah. Offense and defense.
Yeah. They're one of the most complete teams that I've seen in the NFL this year, honestly. And playing against the Chargers, I'm not going to even measure them on the Chargers. The Chargers is just, like I said before, Jim Harbaugh got to go back to the drawing board when they get back here to LA, and he got to bring his A game. You got to bring your A game, because if you ain't bring your A game and you got the kind of talent that you have on that Charger squad, the light's going to start shining, and if you know what I mean. Yeah. So let's move on to Jim's brother, let's talk a little bit about John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh I think he's got the leverage here. He's got 5 football teams that need a head coach. From what I read yesterday, he was earning $17 million at Baltimore. And there's
Who's paying that?
Huh?
Who's paying that?
No, let me finish. I'm telling you right now that he is up the ante, according to reports, that he wants $20 million a year.
He's getting that now, Najee. He's getting the $17 million now.
He was getting $17 million during those 5 Baltimore, right? And now he's taking on an extra $3 million because me and Isaiah was talking about it last night. That that $3 million may be just for staff. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. He wants $20 million and he wants power. He wants to be able to come in, make personnel decisions, which players come in, which players go. That type of thing. Kind of like a quasi general manager type of thing. Yeah. That's what I think he wants. Somewhat what Belichick had.
That's what a shakedown means.
It's a shakedown. But you know what? He's got the leverage because he can shake them down because obviously he's a hot commodity, right?
He's a hot commodity, man. But you talk about a guy who wanted a bonus for getting fired, man. Just think about that. He was making $17 million, making more than almost every coach out there. And now he won a top of $3 million more. And this is a guy who just got fired. Ooh, what a freaking bully. He's shaking people down.
He's a good bully. Fired. Is there a difference, Najee, is there a difference between a good bully and a bad bully?
He's a bad bully.
There's no such thing. Ain't no difference. Ain't no such thing. The whole purpose of a bully is to be bad.
Shake you down and take what you got, right? Good. That's a bully. You shake you down and take what you got.
I just couldn't believe he's got the things set aside for his staff, and he wants $3 million more than what he's making right now. And we're talking about a guy who just got freaking fired.
He's got 5 football teams in need. So where do we meet here? We meet at the same intersection, Isaiah. He's got 5 football teams that's in need of a good coach, not a garbage coach, but a good coach. I'm not saying he's top notch. I've seen him coach for all of those 18 years, and I feel like that he could help a football franchise. He can help an organization. I'm not saying that he'll immediately go to a Super Bowl or whatever the case may be.
It's like flipping a coin. It really is.
It is, and it's in the owner's corner. It's in the owner's corner. Either you take him or you don't. You take the 20. You get a man the $20 million and whatever other demands that he's asking for, or you tell him thanks but no thanks. You let him move on.
What I'll do if I was in one of those positions right there, the coach that needs someone. To be honest with you, DC, even though I think Harbaugh is a great coach, I would go out on a limb and get Flores and give Flores $10 million and keep it moving. That's what I'll do.
That's not a bad choice. I agree. Now, there's 2 franchises that I'm going to go ahead and identify, and I'm going to ask Najee this. The Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns owners, they shell out the dough. They shell out the dough. I mean, now these other owners, the one in Phoenix, and I wouldn't think the lady that's in Tennessee going to be interested in giving him that kind of money.
Well, you know who's adding to DC is the Browns.
That's what I'm saying. Jimmy Haslam is the type of owner that I guess Jimmy Haslam may think one day. Well, he gave Deshaun Watson that $200 million guarantee, which was an outlier, of course. But
yeah,
I'm thinking that Jimmy Haslam or Stephen Ross will open their checkbooks. Either one of them would open their checkbook without a problem to sign him and get him in there and give him what he wants. Now, the Miami Dolphins just hired a new general manager. So this new general manager is going to have a lot of input into who comes in as well. So I'm just wondering what Stephen Ross's strategy is for the Miami Dolphins. But the guy in Phoenix, Bidwell, I don't think he's going to give him that kind of money. I'd be shocked if Bidwell offered him everything he wanted to come to Phoenix. And if I was John Harbaugh, I wouldn't even take it because I wouldn't want to coach him in Phoenix.
To go to where?
Phoenix, the Cardinals.
Phoenix
the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I said Phoenix, but the Arizona Cardinals.
It's Arizona. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
he's saying Phoenix. What's Phoenix?
Yeah.
But so what team do you like them to go to? Because it's to me, it only makes sense to go to 3 teams out
Cleveland,
of 7.
Cleveland, the Miami
Mhm.
Dolphins,
And who else?
and Atlanta Falcons.
Thank you. That's all. Okay.
Now, Arthur Blank is another one. He'll open up his wallet too. He'll take
But
out.
I'm not going to any of those teams. If you want to go, especially if those 3 teams looking to pay you, go ahead and go to one of those 3 because the other teams are hot garbage anyway. The Titans is hot garbage. The Raiders are hot garbage. The
I even
who
left
else is
the Raiders out. Yeah,
and
Davis.
the Giants. I'm not picking
And
none
the
of them. I'm not
Giants,
picking none of
yes.
them.
I think he kicked down most of his demands to the Giants. It wasn't to all of these other teams that he was basically saying that, look, this is what I want. I want power in the front office. I want to be able to come in and get my $20 million, guaranteed money every year, and then turn around and whatever else he thinks he wants, he can get it. Now, it's a lot of football teams need a coach. I mean, now, Isaiah, I'm going to ask you this. If you were an owner, would you sign him to what he wants and his demands?
I just told you what I'll do. I will go out there and give Flores half of that, $10 million, and bring him in because he's on fire right now as well. He's been a head coach before. He did a great job, even though it didn't go, end well. But they was in the same position. Both of them got fired. So what the hell? I would bring in Flores, man, because he's a younger mind too, DC. He's building his damn defenses everywhere he's been. So that's where you start anyway. So I'll bring Flores in. I mean, you can X out.
That makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, it makes all the sense in the world, what you just said. It makes a ton of sense. Because Flores is to me, he's young, he's talented. He knows how to win, and he knows how to get to Super Bowls and win because he's been a Super Bowl winner as the defense coordinator of the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And Bill Belichick entrusted him with that defense. I mean, that says a lot. That speaks volumes to me. Right?
Years, yeah.
But since we got all of these teams available, I'm going to go back to Najee now, and I'm going to ask you, who should Baltimore be pursuing?
I don't know. Tell me who else is available, bro.
There's a bunch of them. There's a big old pool of them. There's about 7 or 8 of them out there. I mean, it's hard to name them all. But
all of the coaches that got fired, Ryan Morris, he's one of them.
Yeah, that's
over with if they want to give him another head coaching job, which I think he should get another opportunity to do it.
The Browns.
Well, Kevin Stefanski, he belongs as the highest position I think Stefanski should be in is an offensive coordinator. He ain't got no business being no head coach no more. He'll probably get the opportunity. He's going to get the chance to be another head. He'll coach again. I think as a head coach, my calculations are that another owner is going to take a chance on Stefanski and give him another opportunity. Now, Mike McDaniel is looking to try to get a head coaching job as well. So you think Mike McDaniel, Najee, would be a good fit for the Baltimore Ravens?
No. If he can handle Tua, he ain't going over there with Derek and
Lamar, right?
I'll take Brian Flores out of this pool of people.
Right.
Because one thing they need to do is revamp their defense. Because their defense, at least since I've watched football, Baltimore's defense has always been spectacular. So for them to show this piss poor defense now is sickening. So I'd rather take Brian Flores then, because their offense is going to float just between Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson alone anyway.
Okay, that's a good fit too, man.
I think he would be a good fit as well.
Oh man, that would be a crazy fit, though, man. If Flores went over there, that will be something else. That'll be something to see because he's surely going to build them a defense. Their offense is okay. Their offense is straight. Their offense is legit. So I will bring Flores in there and build me a defense, and they'll continue to win.
Thank you.
That's what happened.
Exactly. So here's a list of coaching candidates that I pulled up for possibilities for these teams to consider, according to Yahoo Sports. It looks like John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh coached the New York Jets. He's the current defense coordinator for the 49ers. He went back home after he left the Jets, right? And Robert Saleh is a name that's been floating around a lot lately. I think personally Robert Saleh should get another opportunity to be a head coach because I don't even consider the Jets an organization to measure him on. The Jets is not an organization to measure any head coach on. And I feel bad for Aaron Glenn because I think his is going to end in tragedy too at some point when they fire him or if they fire him, which I think they will at some point. And it's not for performance reasons. It'll be for something else. Brian Daboll, who got fired for the New York Giants, would there be an opportunity for him again? I always thought that he should go back to college and coach at college level because he was very successful as an offensive coordinator under Saban.
Some of these guys should consider going into college, DC. Some of these head coaches who got fired from the NFL, they really should consider going into collegiate coaching. Yeah.
I agree because now if you look at all of these teams, and we're talking about the draft is coming up in April, we only have a few months before the draft. These owners just got to get these people hired. whoever they decide to hire, you got to get them hired so that they can come in and get acclimated with the organization and be ready to start drafting and work in that free agent market to try to get these teams, back to where they need to be, correct?
I think they're not trying, DC. They're trying to fill these positions, man.
Yeah.
Because they try not to make a mistake, too, especially the Dolphins. The Dolphins try not to make more mistakes because in the last couple of years, they made huge mistakes, either with the payouts or the staff.
Well, that's a hit or a miss. I mean, anytime you're an owner, I think, and you want to bring a coach in, there's no 100% guarantee that you're going to be successful. That's just rolling the dice. I mean, a lot of these times, these owners are rolling the dice with these coaches. I mean,
with the players too.
And the players, yeah. So you rolling the dice with the players and the coaches. However, the owners are still making their money. So anytime that revenue is still streaming in,
but that's secondary though, DC, because the winning is what they need next because the money is going to be made, especially if you can kind of just have a decent season. Because one thing about fans, they're so hungry for this sport. They're going to show up to the games unless you just flat out getting your rear end handed to you every game. And then, of course, it'll turn the fan base off. But other than that, they're going to be there. Even, when you see guys going above. Look at the Steelers, for instance. They've been trying to get Tomlin fired for at least 7 to 8 years. But that stadium is packed every week.
Well, that's just the Steelers. The Steelers fan base is just they're unlike any other fan base, and there's a lot of good fan bases out there.
With the Ravens is the same way. Right now,
the Ravens has got a solid fan base, but Pittsburgh fan base, I can remember all the way back to the 80s when me and you were children, when we were growing up. That Pittsburgh Terrible Towel, you see them all over the place, everywhere. Yeah. When them Terrible Towels was in the stands, I remember when they were in the Super Bowls.
They started that, though.
And they're the one that started it.
They're the one started with them rags, DC.
They did.
Did that.
They did.
Those rags.
They did. So with all of this in mind, I'm just trying to pick you guys' brain and just try to understand, because I know Mike McCarthy is interested in coming back and coaching, who Jerry fired him at Dallas.
Yeah.
So would he be a good fit on some of these teams? And then if you look at some of the other coaches, Chris Shula's name has come up. Chris Shula is the defensive coordinator for the Rams, and he is one hell of a defensive coordinator. Yeah. Chris Shula is the real deal. Chris Shula can coach. And all of Sean McVay's proteges who worked under Sean McVay turned out to be damn good head coaches wherever they went, even though Raheem Morris got fired prematurely, I think. I think Arthur Blank fired the man prematurely.
I just said that Chris Shula will be a great collegiate coach, DC.
Oh, he would, but I don't think he's interested in coaching at collegiate level. I think
he may not be.
Yeah.
But I think he would be if he was to go into the collegiate level and coach. He'll get his bag and everything there, man. I think that's where he should go.
Chris Shula has aspirations to follow in his grandfather's footsteps.
And the reason why I say that right now, and you know, I'm a huge 305 guy, but his name is their name. I'm saying the Shula name is really superior down here in South Florida. But I wouldn't hire him right now because we just would be coming off of 3 brand new first-time head coaches. And that's why I couldn't see myself hiring Chris Shula as a head coach, man. We don't need no guys who's trying to feel their way around no more, man. You need to go to collegiate level and be a head coach and then come on up. But
that's not a bad route to go. I mean, I don't think it's a bad route to go at all. To go to the collegiate level, get the resume,
and then come on up.
Yeah, stack that resume up, and the resume could be stacked up just with one team. You don't need to go around to a bunch of different teams. You just build your resume from one team by winning, and like Kirk Cignetti and Mario Cristobal are doing at Miami and at Indiana, by the way. So
yeah, those guys are they want you couldn't get them out of collegiate football at all. Neither one of those guys they don't have no appetite for being in the NFL, man. This is not their way of coaching. They're just like Nick Saban. They his kind of guys, and they
exactly
college kids. They don't want to be messing with these grown men who freaking jump on the damn sideline and want to argue with the coach. And nah, that ain't their way of doing things.
Absolutely. So we've reached the end of the first part of this show. We got 2 parts today, so we're gonna close this show out, and we're gonna come back in about 10 minutes to begin the second show. And the second show is going to be packed with some really good sports topics that we're going to be talking about. You're currently watching the DC Stewart Show Podcast live, featuring Isaiah Najee. Real talk, real sports talk. No ESPN scripts. We're not driving off of any scripts. Join this train. Get on this train before we leave the station, because we've already left the station on the first part since we're closing it out. So this next train, we're going to come back and we're going to start, and we'll be talking about some topics. So we'll see you in this second show. We'll be back soon. Take it easy.